With the 16th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Yang Hansen from Zibo, China, and the Qingdao Eagles.
The Hansen Yang story is one of those NBA draft moments that you go, wait, what? This guy went from being a projected second round pick to being taken 16th overall. And not by accident. The Portland Trail Blazers actually traded down just to grab him. So what's going on here? Is he an actual prospect or is it just a marketing move to gain popularity in China? Okay, so first of all, this rise wasn't just a little jump. Most mock drafts, including ESPN and The Athletic, had Hansen going somewhere in the mid-30s. Nobody expected him to be near the lottery, so that's about a 20 spot jump. Even Hansen Yang himself said he didn't expect to be picked this high.
The Blazers had scouts scouting him in China, and he obviously had a pre-workout with them last month. He got along with all the front office people, but at the end of the day, this is sort of beyond his wildest imagination.
But okay, why did the Blazers do this? Let's start with the basketball side. Hansen Yang is a 7'1" center with a 7'3" wingspan and about 250 pounds, so the guy's got legit size. And he's not just some big body clogging the paint, he actually has skills. Coming off a breakout year in China's CBA, Yang was putting up around 16.5 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 blocks, and a steal per game. But the thing that really caught the scouts' attention was the passing. Hansen has legit court vision. He's got that Nikola Jokic light vibe to him. Now let's not go crazy, I'm not saying he's Jokic, but the comparison isn't completely random, and I'll tell you why. Yang's feel for the game is special for a big. He moves the ball well, sets hard screens, and reads the cutters. Wait, does that remind you of anyone? The Trailblazers clearly saw that potential, and they keep building with young bigs. They drafted Donovan Clingan last year, they've got DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III, and Jeremy Grant. So yeah, the front court seems a bit loaded and maybe overcrowded, but let's be honest, most of those guys are on the move soon. Clear that Portland is rebuilding and stacking young talent, so when the opportunity came to grab this playmaking big from China, it made perfect sense. But Hansen's not some perfect unicorn. There's some stuff he really needs to work on. First, his defense outside of the paint is quite shaky. He played a lot of drop coverage in China and that worked, but in the NBA, well, the guards are going to hunt him on switches. It's just that his lateral quickness isn't great, and against pick and pop bigs, he's actually going to be stretched out. That's gonna be his biggest challenge. Will he be able to stay on the floor in the playoff type games where the teams actually attack these slow-footed centers? Probably not. And then there's the shooting. It's cool that he's willing to take threes, but he's not a shooter yet. He shot just under 30% from deep last season on 1 attempt per game, so that has to improve. His free throw percentage isn't great either, so the shooting development is going to take some time. But you know what's encouraging? His form actually looks solid, so maybe with the right coaching he actually gets there. Now, on the offensive side, he's also a solid post-up threat. About a third of his offense came from the post last year, and while his efficiency was decent, around 0.8 points per possession, he hasn't fully developed a go-to move. No automatic hook shot, no drop step that he could rely on yet. But the footwork is there, and for a 20-year-old, that's pretty exciting. Portland will probably give him time to develop that side of his game, much like Houston did with Alperen Şengün. Okay, so basketball-wise, I get it, it's a gamble, but it's not a crazy one. But here's the other side of the story we just cannot ignore, and that's the marketing. Basketball is absolutely huge in China. The NBA itself claims they have over 300 million fans there. The peak of this relationship was during the Yao Ming era. When Yao joined the Rockets back in 2002, the entire country followed him. Rockets games basically became national events in China. Even guys like Tracy McGrady, Yao's teammate, became massive Chinese icons. So big that Qingdao, Hansen Yang's former team in the CBA, literally retired McGrady's jersey after he played there for a single season. But when Yao retired in 2011, things changed. The NBA was hoping Yi Jianlian would take over as China's next basketball superstar. But Yi's NBA career didn't really take off. He had a few okay years, but nothing close to what Yao brought. And after Yi, the NBA never really found another Chinese player to keep that fan base locked in. Zhu Qi briefly popped up in Houston, but he didn't really stick either. And the Chinese national team has struggled internationally ever since Yao Ming retired. So Chinese fans have been waiting for their new hero. Then in 2019, Daryl Morey situation kinda collapsed the whole relationship between the NBA and China overnight. Morey, who was the Rockets GM at the time, tweeted support for the Hong Kong protests, which obviously did not go over well. The Chinese government blacklisted the Rockets, pulled NBA games off TV, and basically froze all businesses with the league. The Rockets, who were the China's team because of Yao, suddenly vanished from Chinese broadcasts. It took a year before Chinese state TV actually started showing NBA games again. And ever since that, the NBA has been carefully rebuilding that relationship. Slowly the games came back on, social media engagement picked up, and they started scheduling more preseason games in Asia. The Nets are even going to play in Macau. So the NBA has been doing all these quiet moves to get back in good standing, but you know what's missing? A player. And here comes Hansen Yang. You gotta understand, this is a massive moment for the NBA's relationship with China. Hansen Yang is the first Chinese player drafted in the first round since Yi Jianlian in 2007. His presence alone is a big deal. There are reports out of Portland that the Blazers have already become one of the most popular teams in China, and his jersey actually is going to be a global bestseller. Chinese fans are going to be watching all the Blazers games now and expecting their local hero to get on the court, and if he does, every minute is going to be a big deal over there. And that's where Clutch Sports connection comes in. Yang is represented by Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. This isn't gonna be a story of a guy who got drafted and disappeared. Rich Paul called Yang the shock of the draft and was hugging him on draft night because he understands the marketing game better than almost anyone in the NBA. And he's already saying that Yang's support will come from all over China and it will benefit the NBA. You see, it's not just about selling jerseys. They have a long-term commercial plan in mind, and I'm not surprised it's coming from LeBron's agent. But again, let's be clear, Blazers picking him is not just marketing. Their front office strongly denies that, and honestly, they're right to do so. GMs don't risk their jobs to chase jersey sales. Hansen Yang is a legit basketball prospect, but the marketing angle is a massive bonus. And of course, we've seen this strategy before. Memphis, for example, signed Yuki Kawamura to a two-way contract in 2024. Suddenly, the Grizzlies blew up in Japan. They had more global fans than ever before, G League All-Star votes came pouring in from the other side of the world, and Japanese sponsors took notice. Sure, Kawamura earned his spot, but the marketing benefit was huge. Same thing when the Wizards drafted Rui Hachimura. Washington immediately became Japan's team. Corporate sponsors followed, and then the primetime TV slots for Japanese TV were locked in for Wizards games, so it was a global win for everyone. So you see, these international players from Asia don't just bring their skills over, they bring entire countries with them. And in Hansen Yang's case, his country is the biggest international market the NBA has. If Yang even becomes a role player, the commercial potential would be enormous. And if he actually breaks out, we might see something close to Jeremy Lin's Linsanity levels of buzz. Or maybe even a Yao level movement again. Was this pick about basketball or just marketing? Well, I think it's obvious, it's both. But in any case, let me know what you think. Do you see the potential for Hansen Yang to thrive in the NBA? And is he the Chinese Jokic, as everyone likes to call him now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you can, hit that like button, it really helps our channel to grow. And as always, subscribe for more NBA takes through an overseas lens.